Absolutely, Representative, thank you. And we wanted to, we did request, if South Peninsula Drive, um, is on any upcoming road work listed for DOT's CIP work. And also, if we could get an update on any possible jurisdiction change between the state of Ocean County and for portions of Peninsula Drive, so I'm still following up on that. And the other thing is, they had the, Thursday summer play of Breakers, it's the pilot program that we discussed along the CRA meetings. It happened last week, and it's gonna be happening every Thursday from 1 to 4, until July 30th. So if you guys could come out, support, give us your feedback. Jenny told me that we need some more shading, which we definitely do, so thank you, Jenny, that's on the list. And also, so July is going to be our Cesspool Centennial, and I don't know what the 250th. Is anyone know what it's called? Oh, I forgot. 250, just 250. America 250. So we're very excited about that. I just want to thank staff from Parks and Rec and from the Communications Department, AD, our IT department, for making a lot of headway. They were also able to get $40,000 in donations so we could support these events. So this is all privately funded, money that is coming in. So we started on July 1st, we're sharing with the Ocean Center, they have Diving Board Series music, so it's to celebrate America 250 and our 100th year. Then July 4th, we have Commissioner Cantu's, Veteran Ceremony and Main Street Parade. July 11th, the D20 Tortugas, they're going to be hosting, game, it's going to be a D20 50th and US A250 Day. All this information is going to be on dv150.com, you can go there. July 18th, we're going to be having our time capsule, and we hope that the community comes out to, share that day with us. It's going to be at Fire Station 1 on Ridgewood. And then, we have rack card information, which we're going to be having, events at the fan show, Main Street, and also a community day at the Cherry Center. So it's on the bulletin board outside, but like I said, it's also at dv150.com. And Katie's going to be giving us a, presentation of what to expect. So we're very excited and hope everybody comes out and enjoys, this day with us. And I think that's it. Thanks.
All right. My turn. There's a, I think it's 501. That's a good idea because it doesn't meet the hurricane blast standards, and those things could be blown out of there. Really, if we could get code to go by there and check on those people, it would be nice. Got a little controversy here I want to talk about. I spoke earlier today with city manager about what we're gonna do over at Breakers Park and taking out the splash pad. There's been some rumblings in my world about not putting that playground there and moving it north up to where there used to be one behind, closer behind the Hilton. I did a little research after I was told those were grant funds and they needed to be used specifically for that location. And, I talked to, someone on the, Western Rec Board that said that, we could ask if we could use that money somewhere else. That in their time on that board, they've only seen one request to use funds somewhere other than where they were supposed to be used, turned down. I don't know if I can get any help here, how any of y'all feel about moving the playground equipment, the $1 million worth, which the rest of the rec is paying $450, $150,000 a year for 3 years. And I guess we're paying the rest of it, it's gonna cost about $1 million. I don't know if any of you others would be interested in moving that playground to the north where there's more people, or if you wanna try to leave it where it is, and attract more people. My thinking is it would probably be better if we moved it back north, and we can get people to start moving south, instead of leaving a big gap there, might be helpful, but, just some food for thought.
I don't feel that idea. I think there was two funding sources. One was equitable, one was if we move it north, we'll talk about it better on the shade for most of the day, so we don't have to worry about the shading structure. But not to, maybe find another option for the splash pad, because that water really does make a difference.
No, it does like that.
If you would allow for me to share give some context before you all make a vote, that may cause other issues. You've already voted to remove the splash pad. The green space where you're trying to move the playground system, there are existing groups that use that for major events. So be mindful of that. Cheer festivals, different types of festivals that put things out there. So if you do go down that route, in the green space, staff will do what we're directed to do. However, there are events and rentals that take place in that space as well that we need to be mindful of. So when you do make a vote, we'll have to go back and look at that as well. I'm just giving you that information because it is a rental space. And we also have agreements with Hilton that we have to abide by as well. That I don't know, I'm just allow for us to review those documents, to provide you information before you make a vote tonight. That's all I'm asking.
Speaking of the Hilton, if you go back to the original agreement, if I'm not wrong, when it was Adams Mark, there, that space on the bottom, on the back side there, at one time was little shops and commercial stuff. Can we still enforce that?
We will enforce it if the contract and agreement says that it's possible, but we need to be then, that's why I don't want you all to make a vote until we review all of the documents.
Okay, well, Ben, that research, and thank you, Ben.
So we can on it, but it's not that drastic.
No. Okay. Yes, they get approval
Yeah,
from us as
because
well.
I know this year.
Yes, they get approval through us to work with that, but there is agreements with the Hilton on what can be out there. So that's why I don't want you to make a vote without going to our legal department. But if you want to make that vote,
No, we don't want to create any more controversy than we already had. And, with that, I would say, good night. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
So we can come to a decision with the bench this week.
And then I thought that we had discussed, when I first started to try to put the dividers in, and we presented some wonderful ideas as well, and I wish I should share those with you as well, of individual fold up, they look like those lilies, and they fold up, they fold down, and she gave that, quite a few different options that different cities were using to come to really still have seating, but still, not get rid of seating, but still then we're going to check to put the dividers in.
So we're gonna do that versus anything that
Will cost additional money.
did you like anything that's?
I love it, and you presented, of course, you said some great options, but I think it could be expensive. She says maybe.
Manufacturer wise.
But,
Is
yeah.
there a date, since we're already gonna go forward, is there a date that we can look at for benches?
As far as the benches on B Street, we've already fabricated the motors and they're at the powder coater, they'll be installed next week. Happy to see.
I think that utilities as well would involve in something, public works and management. So part of the story. I had a gentleman who believed that they had not done something, that they've been asking for a while, had not been done for a long time. So this particular department, things that they do. So I say to him, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I drive my car, and I just had to go to work that morning, okay? So I drive my car, and I go, and as I'm pulling up, I emailed the city manager, the minute I got the phone call, I said, just so you know, I'm going down to take a look myself into the future, right? I pull up, and the gentleman, I was just outside his house, and looked at the drain, and it was like the SWAT team sitting. I literally, public works, just pop out of the road, I don't know how to explain it, and they were jumping out of their cars, they were coming to look at the drain, and the drain was fixed. And he was just so happy, so I sent him an email to his comments, because, yeah, it was, and he was feeling like he had been ignored for I don't know how long, you know, he went, oh my God, all these people just ended, everybody just showed up, like 1, 2, 3, it was a fantastic sight, and then from that up, you know, just to end his comments to the team. There was these problems in the corner of ISB, and it was a bit of a problem, and I sent him a request, and he did go. And the residents there were having issues with homeless sleeping there, and going into the gates, going into the bridge, et cetera. I looked at the sheets as well, and thank you so much for cleaning it up. I went by and stayed while we were working, and the residents were just over the moon. So thank you so much, I appreciate your response.
There was an error on our part with the following this, so that parcel has been used as a laydown for several projects and come off our maintenance list and it's back on it again.
But you know what, it's corrected, and it's,
Appreciate that.
I appreciate that, thank you so much. I also went to Commissioner Pentu's event, it was at the bench, I think it was your event, at the bench now. Really well attended, lots of people, a really good experience. So I've been spending a lot of time down by the ocean area, down by the bench, down by Ocean Avenue. So I decided to create a meeting space for merchants, residents, and the turtle control. All of yours, everybody had their own opinions. And the end result was, we were looking at, again, from Mr. Waller, we were looking at the lighting down there, and what we could do. There's actually a patrol, which you know about, that goes down and checks the lighting to make sure that it's in compliance with turtle issues. I asked them what else we could do, and one of the suggestions was amber lighting. Now, we already know about amber lighting, Mr. Waller, I think, is working with the county with regards to the turtle situation. I sent some pictures into the city manager of the lighting that's taking place in East Beach. They have taken the entire street and used the amber lighting, and when you turn on all the amber lights, it's not bad, you get used to it. And some of the merchants down there thought that it looked a little bit, you know, dark and a little scary when you're down on Ocean Avenue on the boardwalk at night. I found a couple of times. When we spoke to the Turtle Patrol, they informed me that residents, people are visiting in hotels in their rooms and have access to these packets. They gave each packet, and in the packet, they explained the turtle habitat, the sanctuary, the lighting, why it's low, or what's happening. So the guests who are coming, they understand the reason why. And this is just great. So the concept was, how do we just start talking about this more on a regular basis? I know we're using some Breakers Park, we use some other, we let the residents know. See the lights up there, the ones that are out, some are on, some are out. FPL lights, they're turned off on purpose. But to me, when I look at it, I just think it's not well maintained. Why are your lights on the boardwalk? Well, it's actually the various, color spectrums and whatnot. Could you have that picture, please, if they have another one there? Then there was some low lights, that's an area of the boardwalk, where we do go for our entire lighting. I think we're doing some sort of lighting redo on Main Street. But we need to think about adding low lights, because at night, it's dark, there's, we have more ample lights, low lights, floor lights. We can actually see various points, and it feels a lot more safe. You go on the side, so on this street, there is really beautiful decorative lights that the city owns. If you look further down, they're on, further down Main Street. These are off, fine, but if you want to do a light redesign and incorporate them on the front end, then we'll be helping ourselves for years to come. Furthermore, I want to spend an online AI meeting that's mandatory. Oh, by the way, one more. If we're gonna be a place of turtles, embrace the turtle. And so a gentleman went ahead and showed me what the pier would look like on the sign if we actually put turtle pictures on there. But it's creating this feeling, which I think Commissioner Paris could kind of support. We are going to have low lighting, it's sweating the water. Why is this important? And embrace it. Sell flashlights that you can see, sell t-shirts, have informational kiosks, the whole nine. So it becomes a part of our culture down there. But he said that, airbrushing that would be a possibility, and it look great. I'm not sure what we're doing with the white space, on the pier, but I think it's a great success. And also, the AHAC meeting, there's something called middle housing. Middle housing refers to quads, duplexes, triplexes, and out of 16 cities represented, that is a big idea right now, filling in the middle housing gap. And I will say that many people did not know about First Step Shelter, and we're discussing it, and they actually sent out some information to the other cities who are interested in the First Step Shelter concept as well. I say again that when we go to these meetings, we're far ahead on affordable housing. Private partnerships, lots of low income, looking into the middle, looking into home ownership. We are doing so much compared to some of the other cities, so I think we're doing a good job of getting to that. On June 26th, we will be having it's a movie night that's happening in the Dickerson Center. It's a movie called Poppins, I will be there, so June 26th, that's starting at about 6 p.m. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to present some events, small events, that kids don't get to go to some programs that kind of afford to have some of these experiences, can experience it during the summertime. And there's some cool parties coming as well. I went to Juneteenth event, and I really loved it. So thank you so much.
Well, I wasn't here last meeting, so I'm gonna make up for it. Could we find out how much has been given to Embry-Riddle for the Boeing parcel and the other parcel that we gifted to Embry-Riddle? We gifted the Boeing parcel that they would be able to build a facility. I just want to know how much they were valued. Because, those were gifts to a private institution that I thought was well needed and a good community benefit. I just want to know how much they will cost. I want to talk tonight about a few things. As our city continues to ease our way out of the umbrella of questions that have surrounded us. And we are in the process of easing our way out, doing what we think we need to do and being as transparent as we can possibly be. There has been a lot of things that have been reported, that are not accurate, and there have been a lot of statements made about our city that, quite frankly, are not true. But that really, we can't control all of that. It's important that we acknowledge where we are, and I think we
having a good image as a municipality. Folks who are visiting, want to visit a city that they feel that they can trust. Folks who are considering spending money and investing in the community, they want to feel good about the community that they're coming to. So a lot of guys don't have a good image. And a lot of what has happened to us over the last year and that we have gone through, has not made us look as good as we would like to look. And I don't think that any person has done that from a bad space or a bad place. I believe that all of us who are up here and all of us who live in Daytona Beach, gross majority of us who live in Daytona Beach, we do have some folks who do not live in Daytona Beach, who do not seem to wish us well. But I do believe that the majority of people who speak and articulate and express themselves in social media and in different forums want us to be a great destination. But oftentimes we're not operating from a space where we have the facts about what is transpiring. Many times things have been reported in the press. I know even things that are related to me and things that I have been told about, things like the Hungarian trip, just mythical, untruths. But, you know, at this time, I personally tried to not to address much of that because I don't think that it's healthy. Let's just try to ride the wave and get to the end and realize that we have understand his work. We understand that we have been under the microscope, the state attorney's office, in some ways. So we deal with that. But what I want us to remember about ourselves as a commission and about Daytona Beach is this. We did what no city in Volusia County has done. No city in Volusia County, not the county government and very few cities in the state of Florida. When this commission last year voted, I believe it was unanimous, to hire an internal auditor. We did that. We voted to hire an internal auditor. And we did that because we wanted someone who was independent. Independent meaning, and a lot of folks don't understand this, our auditor does not work for the city manager. He works for us. You said it, but a lot of folks don't seem to understand it. There's this idea that the auditor who works for us is here because the state sent him. There's this feeling that he's here because we've done something nefarious or wrong. But the reality is that we decided that we wanted an auditor because we wanted him to be independent and to report to us, and we wanted him to help us with transparency so that people would know how our government works, what we do in this city. That's why we hired. And so there's this idea that's been running them up that somehow we are afraid of transparency. We have so much to hide when we did what no other city, not the county, no other city hired an internal auditor. We did that because we wanted transparency. We wanted accountability. And we wanted to be more efficient. Somehow, it's become this expression in the community that he's not working for city government, but he works for city government. He's a part of our government to make us better. Not from the state, not from law enforcement, and I think we have done our citizens a disservice by not informing them and celebrating the fact that we hired him for a purpose. And so tonight, I would like Mr. Belichick, if he's still here, to come in. I want to ask him a few questions and talk to him. We hired him because he was well qualified. here now for 10 months. And I had a chance to think long and hard about, you know, the last meeting when Mr. Belcher was here and how that went and how, you know, a lot of people, you know, sent me messages from that meeting and they felt that we, as a commission, some of us were defensive. But I think what happened in that meeting was, really go back down that road. There was a lot of misunderstanding in the meeting because, one, the way that things were being reported and what the audit was revealing, some of it we didn't necessarily value or see it, have an understanding of why an auditor goes down that particular road. And to Mr. Belichew's, some of his expressions, I would be the first to say I wasn't pleased with him. So I think in some ways we got off to a bad start. But we've had a few months now to continue with his work. And I've had several meetings with him, several meetings with the city manager. The city attorney and I have not had a chance to meet yet, but we are going to meet as well. And so, Mr. Belichew came well qualified. I want to ask you a few questions, sir. Could you join me? Now, you've been on could you tell me, have you, in your profession, witnessed fraudulent activity? Or it's not this city, but inside, in your career, have you seen fraud? So you know what fraud looks like? Can you tell me, when you identified fraud in your past professional experience, what was your, what did you do?
I would say to the fact. We refer the matter we refer the matter to the appropriate official. I think if we identify fraud, it is our responsibility to state it as such.
Okay, to state it as such. And when you say to report it to the appropriate official,
Yeah.
who might that include?
The SBI, it is federal fund, state attorneys, and things of that nature.
Okay.
But I think we have to have a clear and convincing evidence to get there.
I just want to know what your procedures are when you receive it. So, now, I want to get some clarification on cooperation. I think the community has had an opinion about cooperation as it relates to your, whether our staff has been cooperative with you. Could you tell us what your experience as it relates to cooperation with Mr. Fiacher and his team? Because everybody else in the city works for Mr. Fiacher with the exception of you and Mr. Gross. Mr. Gross and his office received a recent audit on P-cards, and I'd like to thank you for that audit. I appreciate the way that it was written, the way that it was expressed. Your findings resonated well with me. I think that the way that you do some things, I really appreciate it. The fact that you express them as best practices, things that we might be able to emulate throughout the city. But as it relates to cooperation, could you express to us what your experience has been as it relates to cooperation with Mr. Fiacher and stuff?
Thank you, Mayor. I think, I wrote about cooperation in plain English. Unfortunately, I think like you stated, people probably are not reading the report. I think in my experience, Mr. Fiacher is cooperative. Mr. Fiacher managed to instruct his staff to be cooperative. If you remember, on my first audit report, I reported difficulty. I think he took a proper and timely action, and I think the staff is very cooperative. I wrote about it in multiple audit reports. I don't want to be out of topic, but while I'm here, I have to say for Mr. Gross, it is refreshing and it is very, I think, the right way of doing audit. I think since I arrived, I think we asked multiple questions directly to him. We requested multiple documents. In all cases, he was transparent, honest, and when it is needed, he explained things he needed to explain. And I think I reported as such. My job required to be truthful, and there is no any single incident I know of. I called Mr. Fletcher, and he ignored my phone call now. I asked him to meet, and he refused. I think I don't want to go to the detail. In some department, I thought I had difficulty, and I communicated to him. He told for the staff of those particular leadership people, if I want to count their pen and pencil, they should be allowed for me to do so. So the simple answer is he's extremely cooperative.
Okay, so extremely cooperative because, and I'm asking these questions because I'm trying to clarify, one I've stated, we're part of the city government.
Okay.
Malcolm, you're here to help make us better. And the reason that we hired you is because we want to be better. That's the reason. We want to be better. We do not profess to be perfect. So, you've been here 10 months.
If you allow me, can I say something about that? I was struggling actually to understand this for long, and I shared this with Mr. Cruz, Mr. Fletcher. I think in some cases, you guys, not try and blame, unable to take credit for the action you did. I think it is 100% fact. I think the city of Daytona Beach did something many cities, not just in this county, but in many places I know, to create an independent office unit and to have full independence. I think no single person has the authority to terminate my contract. I think in auditing, the most important thing is the audit independence. I think if you read the Euro book, it's stated as such. Without an independence, the auditor will not be functioning properly. So I think you collectively creating those things, I think in some cases unable to see, my accomplishment is your accomplishment by definition. In my view, the system is working the way it is intended. Why it is intended? You hire an auditor to identify gaps. And that is the role of the auditor. And the role of management is to take into consideration and implement recommendations. There is many things I think we managed to do, in my view, in this 10 months. Is completely not seen by anybody, because the way we are processing this, I think you were talking earlier, in some cases feel like I was imposed. That's not correct. I was hired by the commission. I think I was here interviewed, and you guys make a conscious decision to make me not report to the city manager. That is just unique in nature, and one of the best things, and the city should take collectively pride. I am not in a position to advise what you guys do, what you don't do, but I think it's very important to see the audit unit, something you guys created, and whenever we identify gap, you should celebrate it. Gap, for example, exactly. Yes. You should celebrate it, because it is a good thing. I think an independent auditor bringing information to you and to the city leadership is a positive thing.
I agree. So, you've been here 10 months. What's your assessment of the city operations and internal controls thus far?
In my view, I think I wrote about it. I submitted a document. Within 10 months, I think collectively we managed to do many positive things. I will be specific if you want to. For example, because of the work we managed to do together, I think currently the travel policy is different from the previous travel policy. there is no any subjective decision, how much money, the travel policy. When I started, I was talking about there is subjectivity for decision making when people travel. That's not the case now. That's a very positive thing. I think the city manager and these people taking into consideration our recommendations. They are updating policy. They have electronic document tracking mechanism related to travel. They manage to reduce take-home car. They put a logo in multiple city vehicles. This is very, very important. Look, this is new for everybody in my view. There is no independent internal audit office in the city. And because it's newness, like I said, the city unable to take credit for it. People watching, some people from DC area, they'll tell me like, these people did not know they created this office, and why they will not be, celebrating it. I think the commission, in my view, I'm saying this thing with respect, should encourage me and Mr. Fletcher and Mr. Gross to work together for the betterment of the city. Yeah, I think that's very, very fundamental.
So you say in the next 10 months, travel policy is no longer subjective.
No.
The electronic document for travel is a winning. You reduce take-home cars. Is there anything else that I should know? I'm trying to establish a record for the community to understand the progress that has been made, the relationship between you and staff, and to make sure that we are getting the feedback that we need so that we can communicate these facts to the residents.
Yeah, if anyone will tell you, I think the awareness, the level of awareness in the city related to internal control, related to segregation of duty, is not different today from before. I think those people will not tell you the truth. So I think it is a tremendous improvement. Now, the majority of our staff, you can correct me when I make a mistake, are aware of the internal control requirement, the need for sufficient and supporting documents, and the need to change. I said to Mr. Fletcher when I started this work, the way to see my work is as follows. Those of you old enough to remember, all the time people have a telephone, separate telephone, separate camera, separate GPS and many things. People always will improve and they say, why we do this thing, let's do it one together. So I think the majority of our work is focused, how can we improve things? How can we make it better, efficient, faster, and cheaper? Like I said, I think, if you read the audit report we wrote, and some of our discussion is completely not the same. I think me and him have multiple conversations outside this chamber. And
enough already.
Do not recall or remember a majority of disagreement when we discuss in private setting. Even for example,
blah 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 blah.
Disagreement, exactly. Even for example, the fire department, I think in public, they say many changes, but I think in private, in my view, they are improving policy, they are updating, I think, the way they request and approve over time and many other things. So I think my general assessment of this thing is the system is working the way it intended. I think you will not hire an auditor not to identify gaps and report it to you. You also should not hire a manager not to take into consideration the auditor recommendation. And I want to say one very important thing here. In our profession, there is a deliberate reason we say recommendation instead of instruction. So we recommend things we will not instruct. While we are recommending, every audit report you read from any auditor, it started by saying, in our professional opinion. In our professional opinion, supported by fact we consider, we suggested if you do it this way, it will be better. We would like, I think, the city manager to take into account.
Oh, enough
But
already.
by no means, we are expecting in all times, any city manager will be in agreement with us, Having different professional opinion is not distracting, disconstructive. What is destructive is to make it personal and to make it antagonistic. I think, any two people will have different professional view. I think it's very important to sit and to discuss and to take the better idea for the betterment of the city. In my view, I will repeat, when we work together, I think that's what I'm saying. I think if you have different view, feel free to say.
We've had, discussion and consternation, originally, I think what happens is, it's like, when you came,
Sorry you can't all hear it. The microphone system isn't turned up too loud, I guess.
you're new, we don't necessarily know you. So you have this other group over here that's been here. And
Only my second time going live here.
we know them. So there were things in the community that were reported. For example, in the fire department's, report.
Oh, enough already. We already went over this.
The report
Shit.
was that the fire department has spent a certain amount of money. Well, I wanna get my whole question out, but, and I'm trying to say this because what happened is the community was so high, and it came across as though this was an exorbitant number, and then it was so bad, and then, see, for me, I think what happened was, there was a report of this big number. Then I went back and I talked with the staff, and I got my understanding of the number. But from your perspective, it wasn't just how big the number was, it was a protocol, policy, procedure that wasn't in place. So that the number, no matter what the number was. You know what I'm saying? Can you articulate?
It's just plain, simple, cut and dry. They illegally spent our tax money.
Another good
Period.
point, none of the number is about the number. Let's say, for instance, we reported about $50,000 related to food purchase. In no places in the audit report, if you read it, we say, this is a big amount. That's not the intention. The intention was, look, if you are buying food,
$50,000 going through drive-throughs, birthday cakes for family, etc. Our tax money wasted. $50,000.
Business reason, that's constructive. There was a report we issued with $500,000 about vehicle maintenance. We never said this is a big amount. What we said was, these receipts, some of them, we said intentionally, we put the word some, it's not all, did not contain the vehicle identification number. Think, for example, $500,000. I am accountant very well. So you divided $500,000 for 5 years, it's $100,000. You divided that for 20 vehicles, it's about 5,000. So we know, the amount is not a whole lot. I think what, I'm telling you, what for whatever reason, probably people are not familiar with audit procedure, they were making things exaggerated and bigger. I think, I have to say, instead of having mutual conversation like I did with Mr. Gross, people just jump into conclusion by themselves. This is not even
Oh, I think I've had enough.
sometimes some stuff.
Really.
I think I know for a fact, Mr. Fletcher did not want any communication in this setting outside here. but I think that did not happen. So I think we need to understand what audit is, what it is not. When we say something, each word in the audit report is intentional. If you go back and read the audit report, we said some of the receipts did not contain a vehicle identification number, so that it will be difficult for us or for everybody to identify which vehicle is maintained. We talk about uniform, for example. We never said do not buy uniform or anything. We said, in our professional opinion, if you buy uniform in bulk, it will benefit the city. I think we never get a chance, I think, to discuss things and to come up which way is better for our city. And more importantly, we are unable to say, I think this is a good thing, because we created a system, not me, you guys, and the system is working the way it is intended. Because of that, we have robust discussion and implementation of those things. Instead of, like I said, encouraging him and myself, look, you guys need to work together, make sure things are tight. I think it created contradiction. I think that's the simple thing.
Well, the purpose of tonight's discussion is to help us to go way beyond that. I think you two have already done that.
Yep.
But now it's time for the community to do that, because the part of that is that when something is reported and the news says, and they said it 50 times about these, how much was spent on the food and how much was spent on the vehicle maintenance, it was stated over and over and over. So the community is inundated with that. And then we as elected folks have to hear that, and our first response is this, it's to be defensive.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be that bad. It couldn't, and then we hear what the report is from their side, and so we get a little defensive. Now, like you say, I think it's important that we understand what an audit is, what an audit is not, and it's also important that we see the facts in context. Also understand that ultimately, the facts are to help us. So at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, that's what we're having. Okay, my last question.
Before you go on to, fire department, I do have a question, because it was
Right.
reported in the news, and I even seen them for you in the news. He said that the city attorney made you go to
What, no,
because
what,
I did see it in the news, and I would like to know if you had to turn over the whistleblowers' names.
I did turn over everything, because I was asked if I should provide
And who did you turn it
documentation.
over to?
I send it to the city clerk, and I copy, Mr. Gross, I attach it, all of the things I have under my custody. This is what the Commissioner Country we are talking about. Because of lack of,
I'm just asking, all I wanna know is, did you turn, you said, well, it was in the news, reported that the city asked you to turn over the
I
whistleblowers' names.
would rather you to come back to that, because you're breaking my flow.
Okay, that's fine, I would like to know.
Yeah, I have on my last thing.
If someone was fired.
Okay, I got you. I have on my last thing for you, for all of you to ask questions. I want you to ask questions, and that's a fair thing, but I don't wanna break my momentum. Okay.
Well, he's thinking on that. There's a copy of this document that Mr. Bellamy provided our office of return.
Okay, we've had discussion on findings, and probably did not allow you the time to explain.
Yep.
Okay, we've had discussions on findings.
Yeah.
We probably did not allow you the time to explain. I'm gonna ask you, is there any fraud you have identified in the city of Daytona Beach? If so, just speak about this issue.
no. No, I think, the majority of my findings, it says, like I described, I think some of the documents, because they lack the specificity, I'm unable to determine, for example, on the vehicle case, but not conclusively identify fraud, no.
Well, that's, very reassuring. to my colleagues, and we'll start with you, Commissioner.
But before you go, you allow me, sir?
Go ahead, I will allow you.
Exactly.
You
You know,
Don't interrupt.
Thank you. Again, pleaded and begged all of the commissioner in that position. Whenever we issue an audit report, if you want, for example, a one-to-one briefing, whether I'll come to your office, you come to my office, it's very important, I think, to discuss about it, what we are reporting, what we are saying, and what we are not saying. I think, generally speaking, whether it's Mr. H, Mr. H, or myself, or Mr. Gross, I think defaming people working for the commission is not probably the best way to approach things, right? If anybody has any question, I think, Mr. Fletcher or Mr. Blatch or Mr. Cross, I have this question, I would like to discuss with you. I will call you, I will make an appointment. I think it will be the best approach, I think, to benefit our city, and also I think to provide professional courtesy for the people who work for all of you.
So, did anyone in the city ask you to turn over the whistleblower's name, specifically the whistleblower's name?
No, they did not specify the whistleblower name, but I was told I need to provide all of the documents I have under my hand, and I provided every single thing I have under my
And
custody.
the whistleblower name?
Every single thing I printed out, I think from our fraud hotline, I attach it, there is some photo I received from people, there is some allegation, I provided everything.
And why did you turn over the whistleblower name?
I just provided
You
exactly.
said that you didn't give the whistleblower's name.
Have
but
you
gave the
ever talked,
documentation.
have you ever talked to the state attorney's office, this prosecutor or anyone relating to the attorney general's office about anything happening in the city?
Be specific, I talked to the Attorney General office, if I
Well,
am,
you said you have not found anything fraud, so I'm asking you, have you ever actually talked to the attorney general's office, any state prosecutors, any investigators, or anyone?
I did.
Regarding anything fraud in the city?
no, not necessarily fraud, I think
Okay,
as
but have
an
you-
auditor,
Have you reported anything?
not reported, but I have a responsibility, I think, to provide documentation
Okay.
Under my custody, and I provided for them
So why would you
multiple types
provide-
of
Why would
documentation,
you provide documentation if you did not find anything wrong?
because I was asked to provide.
Okay, so you haven't actually went to them and gave them, information whatsoever unless they asked you for the information?
I don't even know who these people are, I think, how I would be contacting these people, I don't know, I think the contact is,
Okay,
the
I'm
first
just
contact
asking
is
this.
from them, not from me,
You sure about that?
200%.
Okay,
Because
so-
there is no way I will know. I'm new for Florida, these things for a fact. I do not know nobody's telephone number or name.
You don't know anybody that state prosecutors told
Now
you?
I know multiple of them.
Right. okay.
Exactly. But I did not initiate it. I think I was contacted and I discussed multiple things with them in multiple occasions.
Okay. But you never actually called them and give them information that they didn't ask for?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No.
Okay.
Commissioner Henry?
Thank you.
I have no questions or comments until all of this is over with, and then I'll read about it and comment at that time. I'm not commenting, speculating on
I appreciate your hard work. I think the city discussed what was and along those lines for this. We're always spending on our work.
First Amendment hater and Ruby. I couldn't volunteer because I had a camera running when we were doing cookout for the police and first responders and city employees.
And there is an investigation.
She stuck her finger right into my camera. What is that?
DLE.
You can't do that. Get out of here. Rich.
So.
Fake neighborhood watch group. Beachside Neighborhood Watch. It's all politically driven, money motivatedly driven.
City manager, and you to continue to work together and continue to collaborate to make our city better. We have confidence in the work that you're doing. I do. I have confidence in the work that you're doing. I appreciate the work that you're doing. I'm looking forward to our city progressing.
Thank you.
I don't know. First time going live. Maybe I didn't hit a volume button. I don't know. Just don't know. I don't see anything here about volume. I don't.
Is John Navarre, and on deck is Trayvon Talbot.
Okay, John Barr, 168. Daytona Beach. I have a couple of questions for Mayor Henry and City Manager Pietro. What I researched is that in 2006, we had a purchasing agent that worked for the city of Daytona Beach and possibly a purchasing department in Daytona Beach. When my father was employed before 2006, he had applied PENS as a risk manager. He had to get a purchasing order, he had to go through the protocol, there was a process. And then in 2006, for a reason that I haven't been able to figure out, unless my fact is wrong, which is only possible, Mr. Gross might have been there, I think this time, in 2006, we ended having a purchasing agent. And that might be something we could do now, where a purchasing agent of some sort, or purchasing department, could have the protocol and a paper trail of the purchases for the city. And I worked for the city 32 years ago, right now, and 39 years ago, right now, in Public Works and in Parks and Recreation. And the money seemed, I was just a temporary summer worker, but the money seemed to be very well taken care of. There were not, that I knew of any, they didn't use the cards back then of any sort. And if anyone needed anything, it was provided by the city. And we did our work. The only thing really given was needed was Gatorade for the heat and stuff like that. We were well taken care of. We had everything we needed to do our jobs. The jobs were really tough. Climbing the drainage ditches and cleaning out the drainage ditches, that was tough. And taking care of the ballpark during the summer. I think the city had worked pretty well at that point. I'm just not sure in 2006 that things were done a bit differently, and then things changed. My father had said that he saw a month ago the last purchasing agent or someone who was in charge of purchasing at an appointment, and he saw that person again. So that's something that maybe to the you can research that, and to the citizens, you can kind of explain how we went from a purchasing system to something different with the cards, and maybe research, and I don't know, why that change was made, or my information could be very incomplete, but that's the best I've been able to come up with. And from that history, going back to that time, the city seemed to tighten their belts pretty good and have a good purchasing system.
Is Trayvon Talbot still here? Our speaker is.
Curious why.
We're gonna bring you a microphone, sir, if you can, come closer to the camera.
Hello. Hey, I was wondering why people like me cannot get safe, usable sidewalks on US 1, like South Daytona, Port Orange, Ormond Beach. Everywhere else has safe, usable sidewalks. I've been asking for over a decade. What's the problem? Why? They're 80 years old, unbelievable, in terrible shape, unusable. And, I can't speak too well. I got a few things I gotta say. Let me see, where is it? Hang on. I can't speak too well. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I've been going to the boardwalk developers for years and years, get nothing. I have all kinds of good ideas. Oh, this better work. What's going on here? Hang on. I can't believe it. Okay. Hang on, I'll get this. Hang on. Sorry. Hey, it's Rolling Ray Porter. Still wondering, after a decade of calling, asking for usable, safe sidewalks on US 1, why can't we get safe, usable sidewalks? What is so hard about that? Port Orange, South Daytona, Ormond Beach, everywhere else has nice sidewalks, like the Hood, who's got nice rec centers, streets, playgrounds, equipment, libraries, swimming pools, you name it, the Hood has got it. For food, cook the books. Leary Center, grant after grant, but you still cry bankruptcy. Where's all the money been going? Into your BLM hidden family bank accounts getting stacked? $100 million for the ballpark? I'm from Field of Dreams. That was my girlfriend's family farm. But $100 million? Give me a break. Imagine those kickbacks. Did our boardwalk, tourism, beach jobs, businesses and entertainment gets what? 40 yards of pavers and closing down the only water fountain? I worked there. Every day I would get, where can we park? Why can't we park on the beach? What's there to do here? That's if they're lucky enough to find an overpriced, off-beach city monopoly parking that fills up by 10 a.m. Pathetic. Months ago, I brought a bunch of good ideas for the boardwalk developers. Oh, they couldn't get me out quick enough. I say we build the greatest BMX skateboard park on the planet. Rock wall climbing, wave machine, Muscle Beach, and then the grand jewel would be the new modern marble surfing and fishing pier. Make it the largest shark in the world with artificial reefs in front for perfect point break for surfers to have contest lessons. Inside the largest jaws is a marine science center to educate the kids. The next generation, how we must protect the ocean. God's creatures out there begging us for help. Think about it, we're an hour from land to build it. They will come. I brought these proposals to the boardwalk development. No, get out of here. Pathetic. Where has all the money been going? I say we need new honest leadership and new ideas, common sense, to open our beach parking. Revamp our boardwalk, charge $1,000. I don't trust scumbags who burn our flags, who commit vote fraud.
Sir, give us the mic.
The mayor's office, and then hired a city manager who fired for fraud and corruption. I mean, who hires a thief? Not even a dollar for hire thieves and felons. But they want to be sanctuary city hall is shame, fraud, and corruption. You gotta get pathetic.
Our next speaker is John Nicholson, and I'm Debbie Wood.
Rolling Ray, the reporter.
John Nicholson, 413 West Grand Lane. Ken, I believe you mentioned putting the Sunsplash fountain playground, the Hilton playground, not the open space that they use, but where the old playground used to be.
That's correct.
All right, that's what I thought you said. He's planning on just replacing it with another playground where it used to be. Nothing to do with that big open field that they use.
The Hilton's property or the city's property?
City's property. We own everything from the sidewalk to the ocean. Secondly, when we were talking about the, report that we got about a month ago on, you can't do anything with the flooding. I gave you, I don't know if you all got it, but I had, copies made with, a water tower and about 12 suggestions on what we could do with Midtown. I went to the, Navy Canal, walked the Navy Canal, and then saw where Navy Canal hits NOLA. I'll talk to, Brecken Wall about that. There is a space about 40 feet wide that connects that location, Nova Canal, all the way down to the, Bucks Pond, right? Part of the problem is the water comes down the Navy Canal, hits at a 90-degree angle, and floods all what we call Silver City. We can prevent that by continuing the Navy Canal down to the Bucks Pond and using that as an excess. I think we should look at that. With regard to the fire station and the money spent, that actually is 3 buildings altogether. It's a replacement of the fire station. It is the command center when we have problems, and it's a training center. So we have 3 buildings in one location, and if this goes on and we use that extra funding, we would have gotten 4 buildings for that $50 million, which is, we need that, we need a fire station out there anyway. So we would have gotten 4 different locations on one dime. Anyway, I know they say it's safety needs to raise those, walkways. Problem is motorcycles, really bad. I mean, it's bad for me when I'm driving my car, especially the new ones. If you go north, the problem with the ones going north is that wheelchairs can't use them. So they can leave the sidewalk, but they can't get back up. Don't ask me why, but there's a lip that prevents the use of wheelchairs. So I ask that you look into that for 2 reasons. We do have a big bike league. Thank you.
Is Mr. Barrow here? Next year, Mr. Barrow now,
Here.
This guy's a creep. Runs a fake church, has the Narcan machine. Disgrace.
It's William Bidler from 42 East International Speedway Boulevard.
Former strip club
Man, I'm
owner.
glad, Mr. Mayor, you got that talk out there, and I thank you for doing that. I get very upset when
Guy's a
people
clown.
accuse you all of doing wrongdoing, and you didn't do it, so I'm kind of glad that's out of the way.
Shove your free Narcan machine up your
One
ass.
thing is, I appreciate also helping with the issues that I discussed with you, and Monica Paris, and thank you for reaching out to me for that. I'm not gonna even mention anything negative right this second. I wanted to say I feel proud to be a Daytona Beach resident, long-term resident, even went to school here and moved around most of my life other than the city of Daytona Beach. Also want to say that what I'd like to see is we need to think things out economically. I've talked to members on the board, I'm on the redevelopment board for the beach side, but I really think that we need to keep thinking about creating jobs for our children, our children's children, that are good paying jobs.
No, AI's taking over, dude. Don't you know that? AI's taking over.
I think we need to be proactive if we have older buildings and we need to make things, if we're going to bring in people from other cities or other states, we probably should put newer buildings up to keep them interested. Trying to retrofit older buildings is kind of like putting lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. It's sad. I have a pig on 400 East International. I spent a lot of money on it, but it's still lipstick on a pig. And if we don't create better jobs, we're not going to bring in better
Yeah,
tax
because of that Narcan
revenues
machine.
to
Free
help with
Narcan
the
here.
in Midtown or
All you
help
junkie
make
drug
it a nice
addicts hang in this
society. That's what we're
neighborhood.
asking for. So, I urge you to, I know it's the hard question because you're going to make some people upset when you say this, and I even talked to some very intelligent people on the board, and they said, all I want to do is tear things down. I just thought about it. I said, it's not tear things down. I just want to build things back
No,
up.
you want to tear down the community with your free Narcan machine
The
and your
biggest step is to bring in
nonprofit
jobs, to bring
to profit.
things. We're depending on people coming from other areas to spend money here. So we gotta put new buildings up. Why do people go to Disney World? They don't go to see Disney World to see a ride dilapidating. They go to see Disney World to go on a new ride, nice and shiny and clean. So please, I ask you to make those hard answers and questions, and I do trust all of you all because I absolutely know that you have my best interest in mind and the best interest of all the residents of the city of Daytona Beach.
No, they don't.
And emotionally,
Some of them do.
I appreciate you because
4 of them don't.
that you serve the residents of Daytona Beach. And you proved that
This guy's a
today when
kook.
you
Little
voted to bring
kook.
in the housing. And I have a lot of respect for you for that. Mr.
Maybe
Reed.
fake
And
church,
all of you,
fake nonprofits,
Monica, and Mrs. Reed, and Danette, and thank you.
in honor of Bradley Boom Boom Bailey.
Our next speaker is Tom Caffrey, and on deck is Patricia Bliss.
Hi,
Creep.
everybody.
What a creep.
Good evening, and good morning, and good night. So, Tom Caffrey, 1303.
This guy's cool.
Atlantic. I am the current president of the Main Street Merchants Association and the chair of the Beachside Redevelopment Board. Thank you, Commissioner Strickland, for bringing up the park. I think this is a huge issue that is fallen under the radar by the commission. And I mean this with imperative clarity. That park, if you guys turn that splash pad into a jungle gym, nobody will use it. There won't be any people there. It will be too hot. It's going to be a hot park all day long. There's no shade. Even if you put sunshades on that park, it will be absolutely useless. I don't recommend it at all. It wasn't brought before the Beachside Redevelopment Board at all. We didn't discuss this. It was never come before us. This is a terrible idea. I think the funds are wonderful. I think the grant money that we're getting is fantastic. I think moving it to behind the Hilton in that circular park, which used to be a park that the city of Daytona Beach currently owns, it's not something that we have to worry about cheers there or anything there. It's city land that we can do as we choose and how we would like to use it. So we can put it there immediately, because that's what it used to be, and we could just do it again. So I recommend highly and immediately the money, we wouldn't have to demo a park, we wouldn't have any of those things. So you'd be able to build a park and use more money to build a better quality amusement because you don't have to demo anything. So please stop that. Just stop it. And then digress, because there's a lot of things I like to talk about, and I get long in the thing. Phenomenal idea. I really want it on Beachside. I think on the mainland. Sorry about anybody that's on the mainland, but we have much more vacant land than you guys do on the mainland around that park. We can fit many more stages. Main Street USA, our Main Street on Beachside is trying very, very, very hard to become a Main Street USA. So I did the onboarding class just on the 16th, which was the other day. The roads on Beachside, we recommended as Beachside Redevelopment to make sure that the roads go back to being two-way instead of one-way on multiple streets. To you guys as a commission, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but our Beachside Redevelopment Board recommended that with a 7-0 vote to do that. We would like to see certain roads come back to two-way rather than one-way. And then I just really appreciate you guys being here so late all the time, man. You guys get after it. So thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Patricia Bliss, and on deck is Jen Mesa.
Patricia Bliss, 128 Hood Street. I live in Indigo Lakes, where property owners' failure to maintain their is actively flooding our public city streets. Do not let this developer offer to fix the very infrastructure they've neglected as a bargaining chip to secure money-making rezoning for themselves. My neighbors and I are discouraged to learn that these commercial outfalls remain completely blocked with silt and debris, Yet city staff believes they lack code enforcement power over them. We strongly disagree. All commercial properties must maintain their infrastructure, whether they're vacant or actively occupied. By failing to cite the owner, the city is essentially allowing a private entity's neglect to flood public city streets. We need you to aggressively enforce existing drainage easement rights and the city's maintenance codes. Please do not let this owner use self-inflicted lack of maintenance as an excuse to secure land use amendment. They have proven to be a bad neighbor. Remember, it took multiple code enforcement threats just to force them to mow their fairways. They bought the recreational land at recreational price. They shouldn't receive a lucrative windfall from the city via rezoning just because they neglected the property. Neglect must not be rewarded with land use changes. If an 18-hole golf course with massive open green space and existing storm ponds cannot handle its current water load, adding concrete streets, homes, and commercial density will break the system entirely. Future land use plans designated this area as open recreational green space for a reason. This system cannot sustain more development. Any land use amendment for the Indigo Lakes Golf Course must be denied, not negotiated. And I want to thank Commissioner Harris. She had a stormwater meeting for her neighborhood, or for, I guess, 3 areas in her neighborhood. And that was very informative, which is where we got some information about our area in Indigo Lakes. By the way, retirement is wonderful. Highly recommend your chance is fine.
Our next speaker is Jenny Mazak, and on deck is Lauren Angeletti.
This lady's a kook too.
Jenny Mazak,
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
I have come back from a kind of a long field trip to Texas. I was hanging out with friends and family, but also I was observing hydrology and ground zero of the flood that happened last year in Kerrville, where the water rose 30 feet in 45 minutes.
She's probably the problem, part of the problem on beachside. Catering to the street
Now,
people.
whether you're talking about a bowl like a valley like that, or even steeper western North Carolina, or the bowl of Daytona Beach, the principles are the same. The water goes to the bottom of the bowl. The places to stop the flooding are every single point along the slope. Every single point. In permaculture class, we're like, if you wanna, you start collecting water at the top. You start collecting it and letting it sink in. Every single point with plants, with various little earthworks and things that I'm always writing about. I get so tired of my own voice. But it's like kind of important. I want people to like not lose their houses and not die and stuff. You know, it's better if we don't die in an untimely flood manner. But anyway, so
Told you.
we just have to, it's every single point where the water gets collected. The soil has to hold water, that's plants and so on. The splash pad thing, I'm dreading losing the splash pad from Breakers Park. It's already so blistering hot, I can't even imagine, I just can't. It makes me sad. One thing I saw that was neat on my field trip is in the city of Round Rock, the city hall of the city of Round Rock has a splash pad in front of City Hall. And citizens are like using it as a beach. The kids are running around, the adults are sitting in their chairs, and it's like a mini beach in front of City Hall where people hang out. And maybe they even go to City Hall and do, hang out with their city officials. So I'm whoever hang out under those trees outside. They're so beautiful. Of course, now the benches are gone. Person can't really sit there anymore. But what if there was a splash pad out there? That would be cool. Now, sorry I keep jumping around with this. benches, okay, I am gonna be 64 years old. I'm fairly in decent shape for a 64-year-old, but it's still wicked hard to like sit down and then like get up. Like there's just like about 40 pounds more than there used to be. It's wicked hard, okay? So benches make life ever so much easier. Love you all, peace. It is hard, it's so heavy.
Going back today again about 501, I heard Ken brought it up in his speech. And I'm frustrated with it. So this time, I put the dates and the times that I had to address it. So somebody withdrew and called for code compliance and made a complaint. After this building was sitting as it was for 2 months, right next to the Daytona ground, which shocks me that nobody noticed it. So I come on Friday, I'm on my way to work, I just thought I'd drive by, see the beach a little bit, the south side of the building, every window, and I didn't have time to blow it up, this is my forte. So that you see that the south side of the building now has all window holes in it. And on my way to work, I called John Stepson, here's my time that I called him, got a hold of me, answered, I said, hello, can you please check on this code and see how the case is? And he said, oh, Lauren, it just got done yesterday. I said, no, John, it got done. I went to the city meeting and somebody told me they called on it, probably 2 days or weeks before it. Within the time that I made this phone call at 12:42, he went out to the building and stopped work order on it. Okay, it took me, my time, not what I do for a living, not something I want to do, but this building, I've driven by it and these windows are open. The man's very nice, he's from China, I think, and he informed me everything he's anticipating to do to the building, okay, everything. And he also told me that if I wanted to rent from him, he had another building on 1033 Ridgewood, and I could rent there. So I drove over to look at it, come to find out, it didn't have any permits or coding or anything to do what he did there either. So when I told Mr. Stemson that, that's when he said, oh my gosh, I want to look into it. And we've seen moving trucks moving in here. These windows are not closed. And this is a picture of the fire hydrant. What? Not up to code. It's not even ready to be used, okay? And I'm sorry, Commissioner Strickland, I know you mean well, but I watched Commissioner May. I listened to Monica. I've seen Monica at so many of my meetings. I've seen you at the meetings. I go to them. You don't speak any meeting. You never get up and speak. And the part I have trouble with, and I enjoy all of you, but I like the beach. I live here for the beach. I ride my bike on the beach. I bring my grandchildren to the beach. And I feel like Daytona Beach, we're spoiled. We have the best weather. That beach is gorgeous. Our sunrises are beautiful. Why do we ignore it? I mean, I was shocked when the woman talked in here last time about the pier. So I rode my bike down and I couldn't believe what she said was true.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying to you, I get 3 minutes, I wait all night to do this, and I just want these things changed. They need to be changed. And I don't need to wait here till 11 o'clock at night to do this after I worked an 8-hour day. Because if I send this to an email to City Manager Fiacher, I don't get an answer. If I send it to Commissioner Strickland, I don't get an answer. So personally, that's where I'm at with it. And I've sent you a lot, City. I've sent you a lot. I have.
You can also send it to any of the.
I know, and I have sent it to you. I just was trying my best, all I'm saying, trying my best.
That's my final.
You were there, so you know.
Let's say the crew, they were yeah. Somebody was here.
Excuse me.
Hey, you're here. Okay. I didn't see you all day.
I love Indigo.
Yeah.
If I ever
You
get
got
up,
it? Yeah, I'm putting this in. So you couldn't hear anything? Nobody could hear anything, I guess? Oh well. Now, a week from Sunday, I'll be going to Tallahassee to drop letters off to Governor DeSantis at the governor's office and to the state attorney general's office. And then I will be here in 2 weeks with a speech about my trip and a few other things about this city that we live in Dead Tuna Bitch, Florida. Dead Tuna Bitch, the female armpit of Florida, who never shaves or uses deodorant, very rarely takes a shower, one nasty woman. I saw a bunch of cats going in here. That's where they live. There's one. Meow. Damn feral cats. They're just as bad as the Why Need Beer violent thieving career criminals in our town. Urinating and dropping feces all over. Don't you, Kitty Kitty? Ugh. Sprinklers are on. I'm gonna get wet. And it's freaking nasty sulfur water. It smells like rotten eggs. Nasty. Okay, am I gonna get wet? I don't think so. Nope. I may get a little wet here. Oh, I didn't. Yeah. All right. Can I stop this live? Oh, hey. Okay, how do we stop this live now? How do you stop it? There we go. X out of it. There we go.